everyone and welcome back to the channel once again. So we start today off by feeding the fat lambs. We've started off trough feeding them just because we want to get a lot of these gone as soon as possible. They're on lush grass, but feeling their backs last week when I was doing the dagging out, they're not as fit as I'd like. So we just got them onto some troughs and hopefully in the next couple of weeks we can get a batch gone. But you'll see there's a couple that we did their back ends and they've still got mucky bums. So just to be safe, I'm going to be doing a fecal egg count this morning. That is the plan to get us started. Please tap that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I hope you enjoy. I'm fairly happy with how these lambs are growing, but the sad thing is I'm not happy with how fit they are. And that means when you feel down the back, you can still feel a little bit of their spine. I'm not going to lie, some are getting there, but they're not getting there as quick as I'd like. And I just want to be extra safe and do a fecal egg count because that could just be holding them back. Obviously this is the group of sheep that had the problem a month ago and we moved them onto fresh grass. They've been wormed, but in a month a lot of things can change. We're also going to be doing a fecal egg count on the ewe lambs who are in the field next door. As you can see, fat lambs. Ewe lambs, because they're going to get moved onto this fresh field of grass that Dad is going to fertilise, they go on fresh pasture, and I always like to make sure that they're not got a worm burden before they move, because if they do, it's a great opportunity to get them clear before you move them. A lot of you might be wondering what a fecal egg count is. So basically, feces, aka poo, you do a count to see how many worms are in their poo. So I've got a plastic bag here. I'm going to pick up 20 samples of poo and then we're going to send it off to the vets to make sure that they haven't got worms. You never know, they're on nice lush grass. It has been very wet the last couple of weeks, so it could just be down to the weather and it going straight through them. But as what's already happened to this group, I want to be 100% safe with it because I don't want them going backwards once again. This is where dog poo bags come in handy. So we're looking for 20 pieces of muck. We'll pop them in there and label it, and then we'll do the same for the ewe lamb. I'll take that. Any little squitty bit, it's a great opportunity to do it whilst they are eating because they tend to poo and wee. Here's a fresh one. You want fresh poo because anything that's too old, worms may have died anyway, so you want it to be as fresh can be. So we are looking for the squitty stuff in particular because that is the stuff that's going to cause the problems, but also look at the proper poo, the solid poo too. So for example, that's quite squitty, so we'll definitely want a bit of that. Hopefully this doesn't put you off your breakfast if you're watching in the morning. It's a nice little hand warmer. There we are. Right, one bag down, let's tie this up. I'll put this inside the clear bag where I put that there. Now I know which is which. That is the top lambs. Now let's repeat for the ewe lambs. Well, I bet this wasn't the content you were expecting when you tuned in this morning. Ewe lambs all done. So there is a remarkable difference, and if I was to guess, the top lambs are going to have a higher egg count than the ewe lambs because the ewe lambs, their feces is pretty much solid. There is one that I saw walking over half this field that was a bit squitty, whereas the top lambs, the majority of them are squitty, but you'll be able to see a difference in grazing. This is a lot tighter and probably a bit more higher fibre, whereas that is really lush stuff that the top lambs are on. So I guess all we need to do now is get to the vets and they'll actually give us an answer. Fingers crossed, don't need worming, but if you're a betting man, we're betting that the tups probably need a worm and the ewes don't.
So the top lambs had strong jar counts, that's around wormers, of 142, but there was 50 eggs per gram of the nematodiarus. So again, at this time of year, questionable like how significant it is, but I guess it's something that you definitely want to monitor. Potentially monitor them and repeat again in a couple of weeks. The ewe lambs had 42 eggs per gram of the roundworm eggs, so even lower.
Yeah.
And the coxie was the same, so about 2,000.
Yeah.
And no nematovirus was seen with the ewe lambs.
Okay.
So basically, the tuck lambs, the only difference, they both were pretty similar, but the only difference is tuck lambs had a bit more worms and some nematovirus.
Okay. It may just be that they're on really lush grass, so it could be that. I was just...
exactly.
I'd rather check than not, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. No, it's the right thing to do. I mean, that's the thing. There's always a few options of what could be going on, isn't it? But those counts alone aren't like really concerning. But
okay.
I guess if you can afford to wait a couple of weeks and repeat it, and then
I'll do that.
Speak to you soon.
Cool. Cheers, Hannah.
Bye.
Bye. Ideal. So guys, that was very interesting talking to the vet there, because I was expecting to have to worm these last night. Obviously it's the morning after now, and I thought we'd just have a little bit of chat about that and what my opinion was. So we're going to do basically exactly what Hannah suggested. We're going to leave these a couple of weeks and do another test. We are not worried about the ewe lambs at all. Their egg count is very low and everything. The only thing is they both had a coxie count of 2,000. I don't know if it's the new technology they're using, but we've never really had a count of coxie come back, but that's something to keep an eye on. 2,000 isn't anything to worry about. Apparently 10,000, then you start getting worried because they're such small worms. The one thing in here is obviously that nematovirus. I've said that right, I think. And that is what you use a white drench for. So that is what we usually start everything with. And we just want to keep an eye on that, because if that rises again, that could be what's causing the squittiness. But my opinion probably is now they've obviously come onto a lush bit of grass. Some of them are still a little bit squitty, but a lot of them are now starting to dry up. So it's probably going from such a poor quality sward onto such high energy sward. It's probably made them go a bit squitty, as well as the low count of worms. So that is where my mind is at. It'd be interesting to see what everyone else's opinions, you sheep farmers out there. It's going to be a little bit of a quick video, to be fair, and a lot of it is just going to be me talking and seeing what people's opinions are, because it does show looks on everything. A lot of people see it, feel the sheep like this, see that if you had squitty bums, obviously you dag them out like I did last week, and you might automatically go to the wormer. But by going to do an egg count first, it allows you to know that these don't actually need worming yet, and especially not the ewe lambs. It's very interesting. It just shows that maybe back in time when we're worming lambs every 3 weeks, it isn't everything. And also, one interesting thing was Farm Vet Films, Kaz had a little bit of a message from him the other day, and he said don't actually worry all the time about moving your lambs a day or within 48 hours of worming them. It helps build up resistance within the sheep against the worms if they have it, but you don't want a seriously high egg count, if that makes sense. So there's all sorts of things bouncing around in my head. At the end of the day, it's probably best for this group of sheep not to be wormed for at least another couple of weeks, and that way, hopefully, fingers crossed, at the weekend, there should be a batch to go. But as I said before, guys, I'd be really interested to see what your opinions are. These have had 3 wormers now, so they had a white wormer when they were a month old, they had a group 2, and they had a group 3, which is ivermectin. That was what they had when they had that high count before they got moved here. So yeah, see what everyone's opinions are. Obviously things have changed through the years. As I said before, worming a lot more versus now trying to be a bit more scientific about it, and we're really trying to reduce resistance throughout the whole of the UK against wormers. And what we should really start doing every time I use a wormer, we should do a test before we use it and afterwards to make sure it's working. I need to get better at that, I do know, but yes, it has shown that these don't need worming, and it's quite an interesting thought, a video where I've just had a little bit of a think, and there's just loads of ideas coming. As well as not worming them, I've saved money on worming them too. So we'll see you next time. Hope you enjoyed. Massive thank you for watching.